Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing tonight? Glad to see everybody here. I hope everybody's had a good Saturday. Mine has been good. I got out and did some work today, made a little bit of money. And I rushed home and quickly put together a slideshow and some videos for you guys tonight. So I hope you find it interesting, informative, all that good stuff. See who we got in here. Oh, before I go any further, Sunshine at Mind of Monsters, which I put her link, it's at the top of the chat along with the Arctic's link, made me. She was asking me if anybody was here for my live last night. She was asking me if I found my dumpster fire. And at that time, I feel stupid now because I didn't know what she was talking about because I hadn't got on a Discord. And she had made me a background. So you probably got a glimpse of it right before I started my intro, but let's make sure I get the right one. Ta-da! There is my new background. And what is there, everybody? Everybody say it together now. What is that? It's a dumpster fire. So I've got my dumpster fire, and then we've got my, which way am I going? A little logo up there, Southern Galaxy Crime. We've got On Air over there. We've got me some crime scene tape. So thank you so much to Sunshine from Mind of Monsters for making this background. I love it so much. And she said she was going to make me a logo avatar too. So I sent her some, she's asking me for ideas for my logo or avatar. So I sent her some ideas on Discord. So I hope you guys like it. I'm going to leave it up there for let everybody get a look at it while I welcome see who all is here. Arctic Fox True Crime is here. Hey T, how you doing? Good to see ya. As always, Kimber is here. Good to see you, ma'am. Mickey is here, one of my wonderful mods. Hello, Mickey. Welcome. All right, let's see who else we got. Miss Miranda Lee is here. Hello, Miranda. Good to have you here, as always. Make sure I don't miss anybody. Oh, another batch of comments just showed up. I gotta find my place again. It's gonna turn into a dumpster fire already, but at least I got my my instant dumpster fire. All right. Like that, my comments jumped up, and there's Miss Lisa Joe. Welcome back, Miss Lisa Joe. She said when I was on Discord earlier, she said I posted about my live tonight and given the link to it, and she said she had her notifications on, so I'm glad to see that you made it. And Serena was in my Discord earlier too. Hello, Serena. Welcome. All right, so we'll make sure I don't miss anybody. Oh, there's my OG. There's Michigan Wifey. Hey, Michigan Wifey. Always a pleasure to have you here from Michigan. As if the name didn't give it away. Miss Peggy. Hello, Miss Peggy. Always good to have you here. Sarita said yes. I don't know if you're talking about my dumpster fire that Sunshine made me. Yeah. She did an excellent job. Yes, it is very cool. I love it so much. So much. And I watched a little bit of Sunshine Mind of Monsters was out fishing and doing a live stream earlier. So I popped in and said hi to her and watched her fish for a little bit. Her and Mr. Sunshine, as she calls him. So I enjoyed that. So if you guys didn't get a chance to see it, please go watch the replay. Yes, absolutely. Arctic says that Sunshine did an amazing job. Yes, she did. I can't tell you how much I love it. I just love it so much. Yes, it is awesome. Most definitely. Most definitely. Absolutely. Miss Peggy said, good job, Sunshine. Yes, ma'am. And I can't wait to see. Yes, Miranda, I do have a Discord. Maybe if I don't know if Mickey is still in here, if she can throw the link in there for me. If not, I'll run over and see if I can. I'll try to put it in chat. If she hasn't already beaten me to it. Michigan Whoppy says it's freaking cold as heck here. Oh, I'm sorry. It's humid, warm and humid here in Arkansas as usual. Oh, everybody's getting snow. Miss Peggy, and I can't remember where Miss Peggy's from. If she said it's cold and snowing there. I love you guys that get snow. I don't know if you're up north or wherever you guys are at. Well, I know Michigan Whoppy's in Michigan, but you can keep the snow. I like to look at it every once in a while when we actually get snow here in central Arkansas. Usually, if we get any winter precipitation, it's sleet or freezing rain. We very rarely get the pretty snow. Miss Kimber said it's a little chilly in Tennessee tonight. Yeah, it's probably chilly. It's probably nice out because I've got my window cracked open to let some fresh air in because, you know me, I'm always sweating and hot. But it's just so humid that any nice cool air that comes in, it just slaps you in the face. But hey, I'll take this until we start getting into the 100-degree temperatures with 100% humidity. Yeah, Miss Serena says she can't wait till the weather is nicer where she's at to fish. Yeah, let's say that's what my Sunshine was doing earlier. She was out fishing. I think the only thing I saw her catch, and I only watched about 5 or 10 minutes of it before I had to start getting some stuff done. And she had caught, what does she call it? The native Florida stick out of the water. That's usually what I catch. I haven't been fishing in years, but that's usually what I caught. Absolutely. Arctic says we need to pick Mr. C's brain on decomp rates in relation to Timmy Dees case at some point. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. I checked my notifications earlier on YouTube and someone had posted, I don't know if it was Mrs. Steve or whoever posted on the community page that they weren't going to have a show tonight because Mr. Steve is out traveling on the road. So let's all wish Mr. Steve and the whole team that's out there with him. I don't know who he has with him this time. Thoughts, prayers, good vibes, safe travels, and all that good stuff while they're out there doing the very important work of helping families free of charge. For anybody who's new here or doesn't know who Mr. Steve is, a True Crime Web, you can find his link in the friend section on the homepage of my channel. Scroll down and all the links are there. True Crime Web is there. Arctic is there. Mind of Monsters is there. All my friends are there. But Mr. Steve and his team go out free of charge to help families search for their missing loved ones. Try to get some closure in some cold cases. So they do boots on the ground, important work. But yes, we will when he gets time. Absolutely, T. We're gonna have to. We'll pick his brain about that. Oh, there they go again. Just when I thought I get caught up, they comments jumped. Okay. Michigan Wifey says she's Discord illiterate. I am to some extent. What I know about Discord, Dandelion has taught me. She's the one that created the monster on a Discord, but half the time I forget to check it. I try to check it every couple of days or so at least to see what's been posted. And that's why it took me so long to find Sunshine's awesome background that she made me, because I was just like, wait, what are you talking about last night when she said, did you find your dumpster fire? I'm like, oh, I'm an expert at finding dumpster fires. But I didn't find that one. The most important dumpster fire, it took me a while. I found it last night actually when I got off here from my live last night. I got on Discord and she had posted it. And then when I was watching her live that she did yesterday morning, she was talking about Raleigh Strain and Madeline Soto and some other cases, and she actually showed the picture, brought it up and showed it on her live before I even saw it. And gave me a shout out. So I always like to give it back and give a shout out to all my friends. There she is. There's Sunshine. I was just telling, I don't know how long you've been here. Let's see. I'm on, yeah, you're here. I'm about 3 minutes behind in comments. How much I love my background. I hope I'm pointing the right way. I can't see. There we go. My background. I love it, ma'am. Thank you so much. It is wonderful. It is so me. You know me too well. So well. All right. Oh, Miss Peggy says she's in Colorado in the mountains. That sounds amazing. But I think you said it was snowing. If I could stay inside and just, have a fire going in the fireplace and just look outside and watch the snow. That's the kind of snow I like. I don't like it if I have to get out in it for work or whatever. Kimber says, did they get the same thing in Tennessee? Sleet and freezing rain. Yeah, down here in central Arkansas, we very rarely get the snow, the pretty snow. I think I'm caught up. I'm gonna try not to babble too much. At least now we can make it through everything we're gonna. Yeah, thank you, Mickey. There is Sunshine's Mind of Monsters link. Definitely go check out Mind of Monsters. Check out Arctic. Check out True Crime Web. My Discord, like I said, Mickey or somebody may have put it in already. I just haven't got to it yet. Oh, there's Dave. Hey, Dave, out on the prowl. How are you doing, my friend? I haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you. I don't know if you're planning on doing a live at some point, late night, early morning tonight or tomorrow. But I'll try to make it. I think I missed your last one. I think I fell asleep. For once, I actually fell asleep and got some sleep. I think the last one you did. I think I watched the replay though. I try to go back and watch replays of any lives that I miss. So it's always good to have Dave here. Check out Dave's channel. It's called Out on the Prowl. He does excellent work, gives some good information. So definitely check Dave out. Lisa Joe is either herding cats or telling me that I'm herding cats. I think that's what she tells me when I try to get caught up in comments. I never get caught up. Maybe that's why my lives are like 3 and 4 hours long. But I love to chat with you guys. In addition to giving you some information and everything. So I've got some missing persons tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about thanks to Arctic. He had sent me the other day some update about the Melissa Witt case, which is of course near and dear to his heart, as he says, because it's right there, happened right there where he lives, and or lived at one point. I don't know if he's still in that area, but and he did an excellent video. I can't remember how long ago it's been, within the week, about the update on Melissa Witt too, and I think I shared it on my community page. So please check it out. And there was something else he shared. Let me get my slides up and see what I got. There's something else from his channel I shared today. Oh, it wasn't a live stream, it was a video premiere about the Fredericktown, I always want to say Fredericktown, Missouri cases. I shared that on my community page. Please check that out. Share it everywhere, everywhere you can. He talked about Timmy Dees case. He talked about Derontae Martin's case and some other ones. John Parton and some other names. So we'll talk. I did do a slide for that. So we will talk some more about that in 1 second. Just making sure that I didn't miss anybody. I'm like OCD when it comes to my comments. Want to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, there's my Dandy. Hey, Dandy, how are you doing? Good to have you here, my dear. Another one of my awesome mods. Does a wonderful job for me and created the Discord monster. But I truly appreciate everything that not just Dandy, but what Dandy does for me, helping, and Mickey and Dave has a wrench, and Michelle C when she's here, all my mods that pop in at the last minute, because I'm sorry, I always forget to give a heads up in Discord when I'm going to do a live, and Danny's like, you didn't give me a heads up. I'm sorry, but they do a wonderful job putting up with my OCD erratic self. Half the time I don't know I'm going to go live until I say, oh, I'm going to do it, I guess. So anyway, I don't know if, yes, there, whoever, I've already forgotten, whoever was asking about Discord, Mickey got my Discord link in there. So anybody who's on Discord can go, come join me on Discord. We got a wonderful group going. Oh, there's Jocelyn. Hey, Joss, how are you doing? Good to see you here. Always good to have Jocelyn here. Thank you, Miss Lisa. Joe says, Miss Lisa says, I like that you chat with us. Yeah, I love, that's another reason I love doing these lives, is I get to chat with you guys. Oh, thank you, Dave. You do a fantastic job, Dave. Dave is a good guy, you guys. Me and Dave go way back on YouTube. Thank you, Mom. Sunshine. Momster. A woman of many names. You are fantastic too, ma'am. Yeah, Arctic said we would truly be lost without our mods. Absolutely. Yes, Dave has a wrench. Don't go crazy, Dave. Oh, I would say what I say in your chat, but I would probably get a strike on my channel. No D pics. You know what I'm talking about. Usually, Miss oh goodness, from across the pond, I haven't seen her in so long, I forget. Says tells you no D pics on your lives. Okay. Anyway, so thank you everybody for being here. Like I said, tonight we're gonna talk about, I got some missing persons. I'm going to give a little bit of an update on the Melissa Witt case. As I said earlier, Arctic has done, yes, thank you, Charlotte, Miss Charlotte. Thank you, Dave. Miss Charlotte from across the pond. Yes, Miss Lisa, you heard D pics. Miss Charlotte, because Dave gives, just, I'm trying not to get off on a tangent or, babbling, but Dave has given, I think, everybody that has ever come to any of his lives a wrench. So whenever he gives anybody a wrench or somebody new, if it's Miss Charlotte's there or if she's not there, I'll say it. Or he'll say it, he says, as long as you don't do anything, put anything bad up there, and somebody will post, don't put any, no D pics. Exactly. So that's where that comes from. So yeah, Miss Charlotte, thank you. I haven't seen Miss Charlotte in a while. Haven't seen her in any lives, but Miss Charlotte is a wonderful lady. All right. So missing persons, Melissa Witt update, which Arctic once again has done a wonderful update video too about Melissa Witt. So we got first, and then we're going to get into some West Memphis 3, continue our West Memphis 3 evidence conversation. I've got some videos, as you see here. I've screen recorded about 4 videos that I'm going to show tonight. So you won't have to sit here and listen to me babble, talk the whole time and save my voice a little bit instead of me sitting reading article after article. Although I do have maybe 1 or 2 articles to read. But anyway. So Tatiana Pratt has been found safe. She had gone missing from Hot Springs in, I can't read because I covered it up with the found safe, but that's the most important part. She was just 13 years old. She has been found safe. Anthony Van Zant had gone missing from, I think it was Batesville. He was 14 or is 14. He has been found safe. I'm always happy when I can bring some happy stories, some good news, some found safe on our missing, especially our children and our teens who are either missing or runaway or both. To me, runaway is the same as missing because you don't know where they're at. Now we have some, unfortunately, still that are missing. We have Dominic Lewis. He is missing from Jacksonville, Arkansas. He has been missing since April 1st. He is just 15 years old, 6 foot, 150 pounds, black male, black hair, brown eyes, and let me bring up my bigger slideshow so I can read. Strain my eyes. There it is. Dominic was last seen wearing a purple and black shirt with a palm tree on it, light blue jeans, and black Croc type shoes. So if you have any information about Dominic or his possible whereabouts, please call 501-982-3191. So I won't. Dumpster fire. Don't forget to advance my slides. This is Jacob Gilmore. And Jacob is missing from Hot Springs, Arkansas since April 11th. He's just 15 years old, 5'10", 200 pounds, a white male, brown hair, blue eyes, and he was last seen wearing a hoodie, shorts, and a greenish Nike backpack with clear bubble straps. So if you have any information on Jacob, his possible whereabouts, please contact the Hot Springs Police Department at 501-321-6789. Oh, wrong one. Okay. And we have another one. I tried to snag. Hadn't been able to check out Morgan Nick Foundation Facebook page, which is where all these come from, except for the last one that I'm going to share with you. And they had unfortunately added a lot of missing. So this is Clayton Brooks Stewart. He has been missing from Little Rock, Arkansas since April 3rd of this year. He is just 14 years old, white male, 5'7", 110 pounds, a brown hair. It says unknown eye color. So if you have any information about Clayton or his whereabouts, please contact the Little Rock Police Department at 501-371-4605. And we have a missing adult. Now, I don't know if they put a silver alert or just missing, but this is Sandy Rinaldi. She is missing from Mountain Home, Arkansas since December 14th of 2023. So it's been a pretty good while, unfortunately, for Sandy. She is 74 years old, a white female, 4'8", short lady, 105 pounds. That's tiny, tiny lady. Gray hair, brown eyes. It says that she was last seen in a 2007 Kia Sportage in Mountain Home. If you have seen her or know something, please reach out to the Baxter County Sheriff Department at 870-425-7000. And so I'm having to go back and forth to do my. And this last one was actually, I remember to get on Facebook this morning or sometime before I went to work. And I noticed that Miss Kimberly Lotz, who is, for anybody that doesn't know, was Derontae Martin's grandmother. I'm friends with her. Well, my Southern Gal True Crime account, I'm friends with her on Facebook. She had tagged me in this post, and I can't remember if it was from a group or just from the page. But at any rate, she had tagged me. I'm assuming you want me to share it. So, of course, I'm going to share it. This is Amanda Mae Stewart. She is missing from St. Joseph, Missouri since April 6th of this year. She is 37 years old, 5'6", 225 pounds, brown hair, possibly dyed. It doesn't say what color. Green or hazel eyes, white female. She was last seen wearing a brown coat, blue sweatpants, and slides. And she was seen entering a Chevy Tahoe with a Cadillac emblem on the front. So if you have, and I'm going to read what's on the right that her sister posted along with the missing poster. But if you have any information about Amanda, her possible whereabouts, what could have happened to her, it says please contact Detective Woodley of St. Joseph, Missouri Police Department at 816-271-4795 or 816-271-4777. And to the right, I blocked out the last names. I don't like to put people's last name out there, but Ariel is apparently Amanda's sister. And she said, this is my sister, Amanda Stewart. She has been missing since April 6th when she met her ex-boyfriend at a Phillips 66 station by Love's truck stop in St. Joseph, Missouri. Her mom, Gail Perry, filed a missing persons report, and this was posted on the 9th of April. Says her Amanda's mom, Gail Perry, filed a missing persons report. Her mom then got a call back from an officer that same day that she filed the report, but she said all that the officer told her was that they won't be actively looking for Amanda unless something comes up that pinpoints to something other than just missing. Because they don't, they said they don't apparently have the time or the manpower to do anything else. And it says that Amanda's phone has been going to voicemail since Saturday evening. And so I just wanted to get that out there. Whoever shared this post, and then like I said, Miss Kimberly tagged me in it, said that Amanda's mom is trying her best to get anybody to, take a missing persons report, do what needs to be done, and apparently they're not getting anywhere. So they just wanted anybody to share this information out to everyone possible. And I did post the missing poster on my community page and on my Facebook group and Facebook page. So I can't remember if I put it in Discord yet. If I haven't, I will. Please share this anywhere and everywhere you can on Facebook, YouTube, whatever you have. And I believe Arctic also did one of his missing person videos on Amanda, if I'm not mistaken. I think I shared it, but I'm not sure. But you can always go to Arctic's page and watch and share out all his missing person videos he does to get this information out. Hopefully, get Amanda's face out there, and hopefully the police department will find the resources that they need to find out where Miss Amanda is and what's happened to her. Hopefully she's okay somewhere, but we just need to keep her face out there. All right. Let me check once again my OCD check comments again. Thank you, Dave. Dave said no one of our inside jokes, so feel free to crocodile heave. I got you, buddy. I hear you. Hello, Miss Barbara Hall. I'm glad you're here for my next slide. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have Miss Barbara Hall here. Anybody who doesn't know who Miss Barbara is, Miss Barbara is Timmy Dees' mother. Timmy is one of those unfortunate, horrible Fredericktown, Missouri cases. I did do a live with Timmy's case. I do have a playlist, the Fredericktown, Missouri cases. Please check it out. Let me go ahead and advance the slide. Hashtag, I've got a slide here, hashtag for Timmy Dees and hashtag, or just hashtag, I'll get it out in a minute. Hashtag justice for Timmy Dees and hashtag justice for Derontae Martin. I'm going to start including this slide in all my videos, all my live streams, to keep Timmy's story out there, to keep Derontae's story out there. Both of these cases need some resolution. As I was saying earlier, I did share Arctic's video that he did. I believe today it premiered this morning. And please watch it. Please share it out everywhere you can to keep Timmy and Derontae's faces and stories out there and to get some resolution for these cases. So I'm glad Miss Barbara's here. So everybody show Miss Barbara some love and respect in the chat. I know you guys always do. I think just about everybody here who knows who Miss Barbara is. Yep, everybody's welcoming Miss Barbara. I love my community. You guys are awesome. Barbara says, I've been sharing this, prayers for the family. Thank you, Miss Barbara. Thank you, ma'am. Miss Barbara is so amazing at sharing all of us creators videos out that we do about these cold cases, missing persons, whatever it is. Miss Barbara shares it, Miss Marion shares it. We just appreciate so much everybody that shares, just to get these stories out there, these faces out there, so that they're never forgotten. Like I said, Timmy and Derontae need justice, along with a lot of other people, cases in Fredericktown that I will be covering at some point. Arctic is also on top of it. I think in Arctic's video that he premiered today, he said he was trying to get a live at some point with, I think, Miss Barbara, with Miss Kimberly Lotz, Derontae's grandmother, and maybe some other families from some of the other Fredericktown cases, get them all on panel with him to do a live. That is going to be an amazing live to help get their stories out there. So please keep an eye out for that from Arctic Fox True Crime. Yes, Miss Barbara said that this is a shame. This is exactly, I'm assuming you're talking about maybe Amanda's, let me go back for a minute. Amanda said, this is a shame. This is exactly what I've been talking about. They make the families do their own investigating and searching. Absolutely. That's what I thought when I saw that, what Amanda's sister had posted about, and I can kind of understand not having the manpower and such, but we gotta do better, as the Arctic says. We gotta do better with getting help from law enforcement and the like to I don't know that, Dave. Miss Barbara could oh, she already answered you. Never mind. I'm behind once again. Okay. Just making sure I'm caught up. All right. So once again, and I put in my whenever I post something, I'm using the hashtags justice for Timmy Dees, justice for Derontae Martin, no matter what I'm posting about, just to keep, like I said, keep their names and faces out there. So please, everybody, do the same if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Include it in your hashtags if you don't mind. All right, let's see what we got next. All right, so this is Melissa Witt. We're going to talk about her for a little bit, or for a minute, before we get into the West Memphis 3. Melissa Witt, and I've got a video I'm going to play that's going to give her backstory. She went missing in December of no, oh goodness, I have too many cases in my head. 95. I want to say 95. I'm sure Arctic can correct me if I'm wrong, or the video will tell. Uneven Ground, you see there on the left, the Melissa Witt story. That is a documentary that LaDonna Humphrey has done. LaDonna Humphrey is, she calls herself a web sleuth, but she is much more than a web sleuth. She's a very smart lady. I think she's also a private investigator, an author. I don't know if she does a podcast. She has been working on investigating Melissa's case for around almost 10 years now, 8 to 10 years. She has written she did the Uneven Ground documentary, which you could find it on YouTube. I think they've moved it over to another streaming platform now. Not sure where it's at, but I have watched it 2 or 3 times on YouTube before it was taken off and put on whatever streaming service it's on. So if you can find it, if you have a streaming service, please watch it. It's an excellent documentary. LaDonna Humphrey has now written her 3rd book about Melissa and her case. It's called Connected by Fate. I have read the first book that LaDonna wrote. I have not read the second one, and this one I don't think has come out yet, or is fixing to come out soon. So I'm excited to get my hands on the second one as soon as I get enough money to go on eBay or Amazon and find a good used version of it, a copy of it. But there's been some new information that has come out in LaDonna's new book. But before we get to that, I am going to make sure I know which video to play, so I won't play the wrong one. Just to give you, for anybody who doesn't know about the Melissa Witt case, just to give you some information. This video is only about a little under 4 minutes. So I'm going to mute my mic and cam and let you guys watch the video, and I will be back. And then I'll read an article about the new information.
The homicide of Fort Smith teenager Melissa Witt has been a mystery for decades and remains unsolved tonight. New tonight, Jordan Howington is in Fort Smith, where Witt's case continues to haunt the River Valley.
It's a haunting case J.C. Ryder refuses to let go. He was lead detective on Melissa Witt's 1994 homicide until he retired a few years ago.
She was going to come out because she was running low on money and have her mother to buy her a hamburger.
Ryder now volunteers his time on the case. He joined me to share Melissa's last moments in hopes someone, 26 years later, will finally come forward.
When you look at the bowling world right now, I mean, it's no different.
No. It's the only thing different is some of the lighting poles. The layout of the parking lot's the same. The building's still the same.
Melissa showed up here at Bowling World on a December 1994 evening to get the hamburger her mother promised. But she never made it inside. Her car was found in the bowling alley parking lot a few days after she was reported missing on a busy bowling league night. Police found a trail of blood not yet washed away by the misty rain.
The blood trail goes from the back of her car over to where the bad guy's car was parked at.
A couple of people even heard and saw a fight that night. However, no one was able to give police any descriptions. Police remain hopeful they'd find her alive. But 45 days into their investigation, they received a call from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office.
I said they thought that a couple of trappers might have found our girl.
It was her, Melissa Witt, brutally murdered and left to die along a logging trail about 50 miles from where she was abducted.
She could have screamed as loud as she could have screamed. Nobody could have heard her.
The investigation started. Who killed Melissa Witt? Through the years, nobody has come forward. Melissa's friends still hold out for hope.
We have a case that I believe could easily be solved.
LaDonna Humphrey is no detective, but she has a lot of passion to help police close this case. Melissa's mother, who raised her alone, died years ago. LaDonna became Melissa's voice.
She was 19. She was somebody's daughter. She was somebody's friend.
She's created a Melissa Witt Facebook page with thousands of followers to keep the story alive. She also pays for a tip line, hoping someone one day will come forward with the right information that's automatically forwarded to police.
We've answered close to 6,000 emails of people that have taken interest in the case, so it's pretty active on our end.
The bad guy's vehicle would have been parked in the next aisle back to the north of her vehicle.
Ryder says over the years they've had some solid leads and people of interest, but they never panned out. Until he takes his last breath, he won't give up fighting.
That's all that I've ever wanted out of this is just see justice served. And I would still like to see it cleared.
That was Jordan Howington reporting. Information received on that anonymous tip line goes directly to Fort Smith Police. We have that number and more information about this case on our website, 5newsonline.com.
All right, guys, that was the background on that down and back up. That was the background information on Melissa Witt, and Miranda had asked about DNA, which I didn't, but of course I figured Arctic would jump in and answer. He says DNA was still relatively new at that time, and he corrected me. It was 94, not 95. I was close. I have all these cases in my head, sometimes the years, especially when I have a lot that I keep up with from the 90s, 94, 95. But anyway, Arctic said DNA was still relatively new at that time. He says, I'm sure anything that could be tested has been tested as technology has progressed. Absolutely. And I don't know that in all the articles I've read and the Uneven Ground, all the documentaries and videos I've watched on Melissa's case, they've never, that I can remember, mentioned DNA, but like Arctic said, surely if they have DNA, they have tested it over the years, as he said, as the technology has progressed. One of the things we're going to talk about in the West Memphis 3 case, we're trying to get that DNA tested with all the new technology we have now. So hopefully, I'm going to read you an article about the update. And Miranda said, "You think so, but I don't think they always test." Like I said, hopefully if they have DNA, if it's viable, hopefully they've tested it. But I think their biggest leads, let me start. Hold on. There we go. Sorry. Let me get the article going, or it's going. Hopefully. There it is. Let me share my screen because it's got some pictures with it that I want to show you guys as I'm reading. See if it'll come up. Maybe. I have to come up with a new name for there it is, for my signal. Sunshine calls hers. I've been stealing her name, her swamp signal, because she's in Florida. I've been calling it my farm signal. I think I might start calling it my cow fart signal, because although we don't have any cows on the farm anymore, but it seems like my cell service is so spotty, you know, a cow could fart and that's how it gets out in the and then it just vanishes. So I'm going to stick with that unless you guys can come up with another name, a better name besides my cow signal. But anyway, this is from the U.S. Sun, and it is from fairly recently. This is the article that Arctic sent the link to me. And it is from April 14th, so just a couple days ago, or about almost a week ago. It says new lead, student Melissa Witt's offender showed off her watch in home years after he abducted her from a parking lot, author says. And the lady, of course, in the video you saw they were talking to was LaDonna Humphrey, who's done all the investigating, did the documentary, 3 books now. So a key item believed to belong to Melissa Witt. Oh, hold on. Oh, never mind. I thought I had a comment up there. Anyway, a key item believed to belong to Melissa Witt was found at the home of the man suspected of being her offender. Students' chilling homicide, which has gone unsolved for almost 30 years, may finally see her offender unmasked, an amateur sleuth has claimed. Melissa Witt, 19, vanished on December 1st, 1994, after going to meet her mother at the bowling alley. Her body was later found in the Ozark National Forest 6 weeks later. There, make sure it comes on the screen, is a picture of Melissa. Beautiful young girl. This, I don't know if this is the exact spot, but I think it was somewhere alongside the road, or it was off in the, as I said on the video, off in the woods a little bit. Her body was placed behind next to a headstone shaped rock. But this is a picture from the Ozark National Forest, and this is her Mickey Mouse watch, or a Mickey Mouse watch. I don't know if it's actually hers. She was wearing one like that when she disappeared. It was not found. This is pertaining to the key, possible key information, evidence that could possibly lead to her offender and what he has said. So for more than 2 decades, the identity of Melissa's offender has remained a mystery, with several promising leads going nowhere. But now, author LaDonna Humphrey, who lives close to Fort Smith, where Melissa was abducted from and grew up, told The Sun why she believes that the crime is on the verge of being solved and why she ruled out the most likely suspect. So we'll just, since we watched the video, I won't go over again the whole background, because we went over that. Get down to the new information. So the most obvious suspect that they were referring to was Larry Swearingen, who I think they talked about in the video. He was an offender who took the life of another young lady, Melissa Trotter, in Texas in 1998. He wasn't in prison at the time Melissa disappeared, but they basically ruled him out. They said he basically, if he did it, which I don't think, in my opinion, don't think he did it. He took his, as they said, he took his secrets to the grave. Trying to get down. Here it is. And it says LaDonna, whose third book on the Melissa Witt case comes out this month, is convinced that Swearingen was not involved in the crime. LaDonna's third, and she says, final book on the homicide, which is her book is called Connected by Fate, speaks to law enforcement who investigated the case at the time and sets out the 3 key pieces of evidence she believes will lead to unmasking the offender. She says, we are very confident that we know who took Melissa's life, which is a huge place to be. Absolutely. LaDonna has dedicated the past 8 years of her life to studying the case, moved by a desire to ensure that Melissa didn't become, quote, just another female victim. Her work has seen her do very deep dive into the evidence and the people closest to Melissa in her life. And pouring through Melissa's diary, LaDonna says there was one particular person that kept coming up, person's name. That individual whom LaDonna chooses not to name, which I respect her for that. That's how you, as Arctic said in his video, that's how you know somebody is serious about a case, doing it for the right reasons. They don't put out information of anybody that hasn't been publicly named at this time. She's holding that information back. So that's always a good sign that they're doing it for the right reason. So this this individual in question has a very violent history. She said almost 24 people came forward to talk about the violence that they had experienced at his hands. That is horrifying. But the true breakthrough, LaDonna said, came when she spoke to a former roommate of the man that she believes took Melissa's life. She said that started this chain of events that led us to where we are today. The roommate told her that one night the suspect had told her that he was, quote, supposed to meet Melissa the night that she disappeared. He also had in his possession a woman's Mickey Mouse watch that he kept on display, which is a very red flaggy. If Miss Marion was here, she'd have her red flag emoji up in the chat. Melissa was wearing a Mickey Mouse watch, as I said earlier, that was stolen by the offender along with other possessions, which further made the fact such an item was on display in the apartment more suspicious. She said he fits the profile given by the FBI of Melissa's offender. He's been in prison, apparently. And of the watch, she said, can we prove that that was Melissa's until we get our hands on it? No. But after a while, it becomes more than just a coincidence. You have to take all the evidence in totality and see where it leads you. At least from what I've tried to learn from watching in professionals. As she said, all these things start building a circumstantial case that needs to push investigators further to find the evidence that they need to bring him to justice. A third key piece of evidence for LaDonna after the watch and the former roommate was the chance to re-hypnotize one of the witnesses in the bowling alley parking lot who overheard an argument between Melissa and the man she suspects to be the offender. And if I remember correctly, in the Uneven Ground documentary, they do interview a witness. They didn't give her identity. She was, how they do set them in the shadows where you can't tell who they are. But she said that she had heard an argument that night in the bowling alley, and all she could remember was either the first letter of the name, a male's name that Melissa said, and she said it sounded like these two people were arguing, a female and a male were arguing, and that's what got her attention in the parking lot, and that she either, I don't know if it was the whole name or maybe just the first letter of the male's name, but she couldn't quite get to it. So I'm just going off the assumption that maybe she might be the one that they're talking about re-hypnotizing, just to see if she can remember the name or the letter, what his name started with. Now, I'm not 100% on that. Arctic may know more about that than I do, but I'm just going on an assumption just from what I've seen and heard from the documentaries and things that I've read. anyway, so LaDonna goes on to say, it's been an intense journey for me. The book follows how that unraveled and pointed to this particular suspect. Last December, to mark the 29th anniversary of Melissa's homicide, LaDonna's organization, All the Lost Girls, in partnership with the Who Killed Missy Witt investigative team, offered a $29,000 reward for critical pieces of information connected to the case. So anyone with relevant information about Missy's case is asked to call 1-800-440-1922, or you can email whokilledmissywitt@gmail.com. And on her confidence that the offender will be named and charged imminently, LaDonna says she addresses the offender on the final page of her book. She says, I made a vow to find you. She said, I want to be able to say I have done everything I can to bring this case the exposure that I can and do all the investigative work to help. And I believe that was it. Oh, that's just Larry Swearingen. The one that I suspected could possibly, he was a person of interest at one time, but I think they've about ruled him out. But I believe he is deceased now. I could be wrong, but I think he passed away in prison. But he was a very, very bad guy. And this is where you can see it. This is Melissa Trotter. This is the young lady that Larry Swearingen was in prison for taking the life of. Just another picture of Melissa. And that should be it. All right. So that is, go back over to StreamYard. I'm going to mash buttons, and as Arctic said, and try not to put myself in back up there. Stage. There we go. Okay. Mashing buttons, as Arctic said, and almost put myself in the upside down or timeout or did something. Get caught up in comment. Cal. I got Cal on my mind still. Comments. There we go. Arctic says Cal shite signal because it is slow as shite. Exactly. See, I thought it was yeah, that's a good name too. Yeah, Miss Barbara appreciates Arctic's humor too. I love Arctic's humor. Yeah, I mean, I can't read tonight or say. I almost called Miranda Amanda. Miranda says, "We'll arrest that guy." Hopefully, Miranda. Hopefully, they're getting close. From what I'm trying to think. If I had another article, I think the other article I had basically had the same information. Is told about the book Connected by Fate. I think that was the other article, but it gave the same information, and it used an alias. Didn't give the roommate's real name. I think it was Nixon something or other, false name. I think that article had the same information. But hopefully, Miranda, they're working on it, trying to get enough evidence to get a probable cause to arrest whoever this person is, this male individual is, and hopefully it will be soon. But until then, you guys, please visit and I think I forgot to put the link in the description box, the Who Killed Melissa Witt or Missy Witt Facebook group or page, whichever one it is. Please check that out. There are a ton of good videos on YouTube that different creators have done. I know True Crime Garage and some others have done excellent videos, deep dives into Melissa's case. So please check that out. Please keep her name and her face out there. Like I said, hopefully we'll get some answer. They'll get some answer soon and get somebody in custody. There's Michelle C. Hello, Michelle C. Another one of my wonderful mods. Good to see you, my dear. Welcome in. Somebody else says snuck in on me while I was reading. Oh, mine, Sunshine says she's still here, but she'll be in and out of chat. She's catching up on housework. Awesome, lady. Awesome. Did you catch anything besides a stick today when you were fishing? When I was watching those few minutes I got to watch, I'm going to go back later and watch all of the replay, but you had caught a stick. And I said that's usually what I catch when I fish is sticks. All right, let's see what we have next. Oh, I forgot to advance the slide. That was the slide I had just for the placeholder for when I was reading. All right, so before we move on to West Memphis 3, yeah, if you have any other comments or questions about Melissa, just pop them in chat. Yes, Arctic says the case stuck with me because we were so close in age. Yep, and lived at that time. I don't know if you still live there. Lived in the same area, the Fort Smith area, when she went missing. So yeah, Arctic is very close to that case. Mickey says she's watching and lurking. Absolutely. Thank you, Mickey. All right, so let's see what I'm doing next. We're gonna get into our continue our discussion about the West Memphis 3. If you weren't watching last night, the day before yesterday, Arkansas Supreme Court, they announced it publicly, finally ruled that DNA found at the crime scene that was limited testing they did in, I believe, 2007. They did what they could with it, found some interesting things concerning that. Sorry, I'm reading the Arctic's comment. Cracks me up. 2007, they did limited tests, what they could do in 2007 with DNA testing, but it's better than it was in 93 when this happened. Found some interesting stuff. And I'm going to play about a 11-minute video real quick, just to give you, anybody who doesn't know, because I didn't have time to play it last night because I don't think I had it ready. Just to give you some background information on the West Memphis 3 case, and then it'll tell you about the evidence and why at the time nobody wanted it tested, supposedly, because it was the infamous evidence that went missing. It was either lost or stored in a fire, whatever the case may be. And then when the lawsuit came about by Damien and his lawyers in 2010, 2011, the evidence mysteriously reappeared, and they've been fighting since then, Damien and his lawyers, and maybe, I don't know, Miss Kelly and Jason Baldwin behind the scenes. You don't hear a lot from them. They've been living a pretty quiet life since they took the Alford plea, all three of them, and were released from prison. But Damien has been out there fighting to get this DNA tested, which I agree with him on that point. If you have DNA and you have the means in 2024, advanced technology, like I said last night, without opening a can of worms or getting myself in trouble, I have my opinions and theories about why the district courts, Crittenden County and West Memphis Police Department, and the prosecutors and everybody higher-ups didn't want it tested, but I'll let you guys judge for yourself. So I'm going to quit babbling now and play this video. Like I said, it's about 11 minutes long, but I will keep my eye on those guys' comments and pop them up on the screen during the video. And once again, I'm going to mute my mic and my cam. So I will see you in a few minutes.
1993, a time when kids rode their bikes everywhere and many parents didn't worry the way they do now. But in one day, that all changed for a small, tight-knit Arkansas town. The infamous West Memphis murders rocked the world, not just of West Memphis, but our entire state. 3 second-grade boys disappeared, later found dead in a ditch. They were Stevie, Christopher, and Michael. Their families heartbroken, a town left in fear. And the arrests of 3 teenagers that came soon after kept the story in headlines even to this day. Tonight, we look back at what happened, what's changed following the initial investigation, and why many see the fight for justice continuing 30 years later.
I believe with all my heart and all my soul that the day is coming whenever we will see justice and we'll walk out of this place. It may not come tomorrow. It may not come on September 30th, but it will come.
That was 13 years ago. Damian Eccles was on death row. Jason Baldwin and Jesse Miskelly serving life in prison for the deaths of 3 West Memphis boys.
Get them out of the way, man!
From the beginning, the trio maintained their innocence. Lonnie Sowery, a member of Damian's legal team, recounts the initial trial.
There was no evidence, absolutely no evidence linking them to the crime. These kids didn't drive. The 3 bodies, bizarrely, had no blood around them. So clearly they were taken from the murder scene to this drainage ditch. Damian lived 8 miles away from where the bodies were buried. Never drove. None of these kids drove. They didn't have cars. It was an incredible miscarriage of justice.
It was the morning of May 5th, 1993, when 3 8-year-old boys, Steve, Michael, and Christopher, went to school. Testimony from neighbors say they were seen playing with each other into the evening. Steve Branch's stepfather called them to come in for the night. That was the last moment of what was a normal day for the little town. The boys never came home. Police searched for them throughout the night and into the next day. The search ended when their bodies were found in a nearby ditch.
The 3 boys were found submerged in water, and it is not an accident. They did not slip off in it. We do have 3 homicide victims.
The community's shocked that something like this could happen.
It scares me that people could be that mean and kill kids just like that.
I can't even see how can somebody would do something like that, because for a fact, I feel like if it was my kid, I'd kill him. He'll be dead right now.
They was in my room. We decorated their desk pretty for them.
Was that sad?
I was crying. My friend was crying too.
Were they friends of yours?
Steve helped me with my homework.
It wasn't long before police pinpointed their suspects. 3 local teens known to law enforcement for petty crimes: Damian Eccles, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miskelly.
They went around, and Damian Eccles was a local kid who had some minor trouble, was dressed in black, and they targeted him. And one of the youth officers who had some run-ins with Damian at the crime scene declared this must be the work of Damian Eccles.
The 3 were found guilty of the murders. Miskelly and Baldwin were sentenced to life in prison. Eccles would be sent to death row. It was behind bars where they would spend the next 18 years and 78 days, trying to be heard again in front of a judge. They did get that request, the attorneys stating there were strong doubts of evidence pointing to them as the killers. The prosecutor and attorneys of the West Memphis 3 made a deal called an Alford plea.
I hope and pray that they have become rehabilitated,
allowing the 3 to plead guilty and still maintain their innocence.
The hardest part was taking the Alford plea, knowing that the state was not going to pursue justice and not going to pursue who killed the kids.
I know to the core of my soul that the only reason the state did not murder me and sweep this case under the rug was because people all over the world were paying attention to it.
Now, the fight to clear their names didn't end there, and we'll take a closer look at that in a bit. But the clamor over the West Memphis Three's case came at a unique time in history. The internet was in its fledgling years, something that helped fuel discussion of the story nationwide in a way not really seen before. The case would also become the focus of a documentary, which raised questions about the verdict. Today, the attention surrounding the West Memphis Three is getting new life. The age of podcasts and true crime and social media are exposing a whole new audience to the case and once again raising questions about whether justice was really served.
There are people who weren't alive in 1993 who are on TikTok or on social media and learning about it now and saying, what is going on here?
The 90s, full of grunge and counterculture, it became a time for people to express themselves outside of the norm.
When people say it could have been me, they don't mean like I looked and dressed the same. Sometimes, absolutely. It's such a basic through line, and I'm innocent. Like, there's no evidence here. That's why it could have been any of us.
3 years after the murders in West Memphis, a new documentary would take an in-depth look at the case which captivated the country.
I didn't kill those 3 little boys.
Paradise Lost, the child murders at Robin Hood Hills, showcased several issues in the case that created doubt in the evidence. So much so, the trial became a national phenomenon. Now fast forward to 2007 and the Free the West Memphis 3 movement. It revived interest, seeing support from celebrities like Natalie Maines of the Chicks. All of this adding to the attention.
When you're putting someone to death, you have to be 100% sure. And there is loads and loads of doubt.
Now, decades later, we're seeing a resurgence of curiosity surrounding the case. Jillian Pensavalle is the creator of the True Crime Obsessed podcast. It's cases like the West Memphis Three that made her want to bring attention to how the justice system can be flawed.
It was so shocking. It's one of those things where you realize, like, oh, the system is completely broken.
Thousands of people tune in to listen to each episode, bringing new attention and a new audience to the West Memphis Three story.
If I have a platform, I want to use it for good.
And my show, we take big cases and we cover each week a very small element of the case. And then, 100,000 people or more in our audience dig into those files, give me feedback.
Bob Ruff is the creator and host of the Truth and Justice podcast. He's done multiple seasons on the West Memphis 3 case. For him, it's about trying to find the missing piece that would clear the names of Damien, Jesse, and Jason.
They kind of become high profile because people like me and other podcasters and documentarians cover them. But the reason they become newsworthy is because the district attorneys won't allow anyone to find the truth.
With these podcasts and the ability to have information at your fingertips, there's a global revival happening to find out what happened to Steve, Christopher, and Michael, and finally close what some say is an unfinished investigation. For people like Bob, they won't stop until the case is solved.
We're fighting hard to fix mistakes from the past, but the other thing that we're trying to do is to prevent mistakes in the future.
It wasn't just new attention to the case that brought about new life, but in a major turn, the discovery of evidence that could lead to new information. But the push to have that evidence retested with new technology sparked a whole new court battle, bringing us to a fight that's still ongoing today.
We're looking for the real killers. It's not only to exonerate Damien, Jason, and Jesse, but find the real killers.
Lonnie Sowery is part of Damien Echols' legal team. In 2021, they finally got the chance to move the case forward with new hope. Echols' team combed through evidence that the state had previously told them was destroyed in a fire.
We went into the police department and found the evidence packaged, beautifully packaged, preserved, in excellent condition.
The hope that this evidence could be retested to show who was at the crime scene and who possibly killed Steve, Christopher, and Michael all those years ago.
We found the ligatures that we were looking for, and we assumed once we found this that the prosecutor would allow us to retest it.
Ligatures used to tie up the boys during the crime, in this case shoelaces, that could be tested with new technology to uncover DNA that couldn't be found before. The new technology, an MVAC machine that can extract DNA in smaller amounts. Eccles attorneys say former prosecutor Scott Ellington with the state judicial district told them that if new evidence was uncovered, they would be able to retest it. But by the time of the discovery, Ellington was no longer the prosecutor, and the new one wasn't so willing to allow that. So Eccles and his team went to court again, fighting to get evidence retested. In June 2022, the judge said no, ruling that their petition did not apply to Eccles because he is not in state custody. Eccles and Jason Baldwin, one of the other West Memphis three, disappointed with the decision.
We have a way in our hands where they can see who killed those children, and they're refusing to do anything about it.
To test the evidence, to find who committed this crime, not only solves the case, but it begins real healing for us and all of our families.
So now Eccles finds himself in a familiar situation, one he had to do years ago when pleading his innocence to be freed from prison, going before the Arkansas State Supreme Court to have them rule on whether he can proceed. So now it's up to the Arkansas Supreme Court to decide whether to hear the case. That timeline remains uncertain. If they do, the court will decide whether or not that evidence should be retested. And it's a decision that many believe could help bring a close to this 30-year saga and closure to the families of Christopher, Michael, and Steve, as well as Damien, Jesse, and Jason, the West Memphis Three.
Okay, guys, that was the background information, and I was trying to pop most of your guys' comments up. Lots of good comments. Chris asked, why did this evidence get lost or hidden from the public? That is the question. I'll give you my theories and thoughts on that. But first, I'm going to play, I have another about almost 4-minute video about the update of the Supreme Court ruling. So I'll play that right quick, and then I'll get back on here with you guys.
I believe with all my heart and all my soul that the day is coming whenever we will see justice and we'll walk out of this place. It may not come tomorrow. It may not come on September 30th, but it will come.
Tonight, Damien Eccles and the West Memphis Three might be one step closer to proving their innocence.
That video you just heard was Eccles in 2010, right before he, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miss Kelly, took what's called an Alford plea deal.
It allowed them to maintain their innocence while accepting that the prosecutors had enough evidence to convict them of killing 3 boys in West Memphis back in 1993. But regardless of how that arraignment worked, Damien Eccles has always maintained his innocence. And so tonight at 10, today that legal fight is continuing with a major update in the case.
This morning, the Arkansas Supreme Court cleared the way to test some evidence from the 30-year-old case. All new tonight, THV 11's Ashley Godwin joins us in studio to break down today's decision and how the Eccles legal team is preparing. What's next?
Hey, Faith Rowley, this newest battle in the West Memphis 3 case centers on this evidence right here. A box of evidence that was once thought to be destroyed. Now Damien Eccles' legal team moves forward in what they say is justice in knowing who really killed those 3 little boys.
Once that additional DNA testing started pointing in different directions than the 3, then we first started to have real hope that maybe there was a way this case would break open.
Damien Eccles' lead counsel, Stephen Braga, has been on the case since 2009. Right before Eccles, Jason Baldwin and Jesse Miss Kelly made an Alford plea deal.
I haven't been involved in another case, anything like this in my career. Believe me, this is one of a kind, really dramatic case in terms of as Judge Laser said at the Alford plea hearing, it's a tragedy on all sides.
Eccles has maintained his innocence since, pushing for justice in the case. And that push came closer to reality in 2021 when evidence thought to have been destroyed was found. Eccles and his legal team want to test it for DNA to see if they can identify who was at the crime scene. But when they took it to court in 2022, a Crittenden County Circuit judge said no, and that the petition they filed under was not applicable in this case because Eccles wasn't in state custody. 2 years later, the Arkansas Supreme Court weighed in on the decision. In a 4-3 majority opinion, the justices say Eccles can test the evidence with this law, and he does not need to be in state custody to seek relief to prove his innocence.
We're going to take the high road and respect both sides. And, luckily we won. We're able to go back and have jurisdiction in the circuit court over the petition for new testing. And, what I would say to anybody who believes that the West Memphis Three, who still believes that the West Memphis Three committed this crime or Damien is some kind of depraved criminal, well, let's let the testing be done.
Something Eccles and his team have been working on for years, and they say they are closer now than ever to finally knowing the truth.
He really hopes that there's a way to expeditiously get this evidence tested. He has no fear of what the evidence might show, but he is still hopeful that someday the real perpetrator will be found.
So, Ashley, we are getting closer to that evidence being tested, but how long could that take?
Faith, the case now goes back to the lower court to allow them to respond. Eccles' lead counsel believes it will take about a month to figure out how he and the Crittenden County prosecutor will move forward with testing the evidence.
Ashley, all right, a new chapter. We know you've been reading through this book for a lot of years. We'll continue to look to you as we get the new information. Thank you very much tonight.
All right, that was take that down and my slides back up. Right layout. There we go. So that is the update on the West Memphis 3 case, and I was trying to once again pop you guys the comments up there. Chris Gideon had asked why the evidence had not been tested, and were they sitting on the evidence? I was going to try to go back and put his comment back up, but it's I think everybody in here has about the same thoughts that I do about why the evidence has not been tested and why it took so long or why the district courts in Crittenden County did not want it tested. In my opinion, like a lot of you guys have said, because they knew they possibly, most likely, effed up, as Arctic put it. They got tunnel vision. They immediately, and this is just my opinion, because as anybody who was here last night knows that I'm one of those, because usually in this case it's either you're on one side or the other. You think the three are guilty or not guilty. I'm kind of in a gray area on the fence. I tend to lean more one way, not guilty. But I don't know for sure, obviously, because I wasn't there. None of us were there, so none of us can say for sure. But we all have our thoughts on which way we lean, and that is perfectly fine. That's a good, healthy discussion to keep this for the boys, for Stevie, Michael, and Christopher. Always comes down to they are the most important part of the case. But yeah, I agree with you guys that they had tunnel vision. They messed up, in my opinion, and they gave them the they didn't want it tested because it would maybe come back to show that they'd messed up by at the very least. There we go. Where'd it go? I'll have to get to Miss Barb just put up the red flag for Miss Marion. Thank you, Miss Barbara. At the very least, they messed up by not possibly having other suspects or possibly being able to find if there were other suspects by not testing the DNA. As somebody, I can't remember in chat, put, why would they let them out with the Alfred plea if they weren't, they had always said before they were 100% sure that these were the guys that did it and they had their guys. And lo and behold, they turned around and give them an Alfred plea. I'm in agreement with, like I said, so many comments have come up. I forgot who said it, but I agree. They would not have, in my opinion, given them that Alfred plea because they knew, in my opinion, that if they were to give them a retrial, which at some point they have been trying to get a retrial also, that most likely after all the years had passed and all this new DNA was out, possible new evidence, witness testimony that had been given previously that helped get them convicted, in my opinion, was recanted. The parents, a lot of the parents, John Mark Byers, who is Christopher's stepdad, and Pam Hobbs, who's Stevie Branch's mother, have both come out in years ago after this new evidence and DNA come out and said they no longer believe that Miss Kelly, Eccles, and Baldwin did it. So, in my opinion, long-winded explanation once again for me, but in my opinion, that's why they gave them the Alfred plea, because if they gave them a retrial, they most likely probably would not have been convicted, you would assume, just by the evidence that, in my opinion, if I was on that jury in 93, and that's all the evidence that they had, and we're going to go over quickly the evidence, little bit of evidence that they had for the trial in 93, which wasn't a whole lot. If I was a juror on that, I probably would not have voted guilty, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, I think most of you guys and if you have a differing opinion in chat, that is perfectly fine. Like I said, everybody's opinion is welcome here. Just always be respectful of each other's opinions. Let me get caught up in comments right quick, and I think that was all the videos I had. So you have to listen to me, my monotone reading again. Yep, Arctic says if they get exonerated by DNA, they'll have one hell of a lawsuit on their hands. They'll make this state wish they had never locked them up. Yes, and I wonder, because I think, if I remember correctly, and somebody, Arctic or whoever has knowledge of this case too, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, now I don't know if it's still applicable, but I think part of the Alfred plea was that they could not, at least they couldn't sue the state of Arkansas. Now, as far as that may be null and void now, they can do that, or they can sue somebody else. But I think that was part of the Alfred plea. But yeah, I'm sure Damien's, he can afford all the really good lawyers now. So I'm sure if he wanted to push it to sue the state or whoever, that it would probably at least go to trial or whatever they do for things of that nature. Yep, Serena says Damien, Jason, and Jesse lost their youth. Damien was tortured in prison, would have passed if not by at least the DP, but by his poor health. Yep. Yeah, like I said, no matter which side of the fence you're on, if you think they're guilty or innocent, in my opinion, the lack of evidence, in my opinion, they had at the trial, to me, was not. And I know a lot of cases have been built and won on circumstantial evidence, but to me, the evidence they had in that trial, to me, wouldn't even, but I'm no expert, but it wouldn't qualify for even circumstantial evidence. That's the question, Miranda. Miranda says, why haven't they done genetic genealogy on the DNA that didn't match any of the boys on that's what the fight is for. Damien in the forefront, and then maybe, I don't know about Jason Baldwin or Jesse Miss Kelly, has been fighting for years since 2007 when they tested it the first time to get this evidence retested. And the district court, Crittenden County Court, or wherever county it was in, I know West Memphis is in Crittenden County, they blocked it, shot it down. That's what we're going to go over in a minute. When it finally made it to the Arkansas Supreme Court, because the 1780 Act, 1740 Act, I get my numbers mixed up. The way that the from what I understand, the way that the Crittenden County district courts, or whatever county it was, I'm sure it was Crittenden County, because that's where the trial took. No, the trials didn't take place in Crittenden County. One was they moved it out of county. Jesse's trial was in Corning, Arkansas, which is in either Craighead or Clay County, and Damien and Jason's trial was in Jonesboro, which is in either, I think it's Craighead County or Clay County. I get my counties mixed up north. But yeah, they took it out of county, but I'm sure everything that went through Crittenden County, that's where everything got shot down as far as being able to get the evidence tested, because like a lot of you guys have said in here, in my opinion too, the district court system there and the prosecutors and the judges that were in place at the time, and the judge went on to move up the ranks. David Burnett was the judge for the trial. He moved up the ranks, eventually became a senator, Arkansas senator. He's out of office now. He was out in 2015, 2016. But maybe I'm hoping, since some of these higher up officials are now out of office and don't have any power in that judicial system anymore, that maybe that's why they have new people in there, new officials that are willing to get this DNA tested. Had to go all the way to the Arkansas Supreme Court just to get it approved so they can test it. Now, getting it tested they said it may take around a month, they said in that video. But yeah, Miranda, they've been fighting since basically 2007, 2010 to get it tested. Yeah, Miranda said my sound, yeah, it's probably my cow fart signal going in and out. I apologize if the sound is messed up. Yeah, sometimes if I don't, I have 3 bars, it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, sometimes if my signal goes wonky, my cell service, because I go through my cell service, my hotspot on my phone, my sound will get messed up a little bit, so I apologize for that. Yep. Serena said most people who have any logic and reason with them can see that this investigation was crap. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, whether you think they're guilty or not, in my opinion, the crime scene was compromised and botched. The investigation, in my opinion, was most definitely botched, at the very least by tunnel vision, and at the very most by corruption and coercion, in my opinion. Oh yeah, there's Miss Barbara put up the red flag for Miss Marion. Yes, Miss Barbara, bunches of red flags in this. Yeah, Miss Barbara says she does not believe in coincidences. Absolutely. Yep, that's what I'm saying. Serena says at the very least, absolutely, at the least, they didn't have enough to get a conviction. There wasn't anything to connect them to the crime scene. Absolutely. They have found since in 2007 that testing that they were able to do in 2007, none of it matched any DNA from any of the 3. But yet the district courts fought tooth and nail to keep it from being retested all these years until now. Hopefully we're on the right track now. Yep. Serena said their expert on the cult got his degree, and yeah, those experts, I'm telling you. Oh, Arctic's cracking me up again. Yep, I agree with Serena. It comes down to pride, politics, and money. In my opinion, some of the higher up officials and prosecutors and the like, unfortunately, when this case started snowballing and started getting more and more national attention, even though they were focused on uh, Eccles, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin from the very beginning. I think a lot of it had to do with ego too. The people in power and the prosecutors and things of that nature wanted to try to make a name for themselves and make some money. Exactly. We talked about that last night, Miranda, too. It said, and boomers assume that kids, Gen X, which I'm a Gen X, who dressed in black were Satanists. Yep. That's what I said last night. When I was a kid, a teenager, I was wearing the black t-shirts, and of course, it was back in the late 80s, early 90s when I was a teenager, young adult. I wore the Metallica t-shirts and the concert t-shirts and wore the black clothing, and I was one of the weird kids and listened to the rock and roll and the heavy metal music. You know, can't judge a book by its cover. Yep. Artist says, I'm not sure on that, talking about the lawsuit things. So if they get fully exonerated, I'm sure they'll find a way to get some sort of compensation. Yeah. Yeah, I think if I'm not, like I said, once again, if I'm not mistaken, which I entirely could be, that part of the Alford plea deal was that they could not, the three, Eccles, Baldwin, and Miss Kelly, couldn't sue, I think, sue the state of Arkansas. And I said, I don't know if that would go as far as individuals suing individuals, but I'm sure something will happen. Like I said, Damien's got he's got enough money now with to hire the best lawyers, but Miranda, the ligatures are part of the evidence in question. That was one of the things that they're trying to get retested with the MVAC, is the ligatures, which were the boys' shoelaces. And I believe there's also a swab that was taken off one of the boys' bodies. We'll go over it in we'll go through the evidence. I'm doing good. I'm just an hour and a half in. We're doing good, guys. Maybe we won't be here for 3 hours tonight. It's okay if we are. I just want to get to everybody's comments. But yeah, the ligatures, which is the shoestrings, are part of the that evidence that they're trying to get tested. Yep, exactly. Serena said they should have just gone to the beauty salon or barbershop and got their gossip. That's basically what their witnesses were in the trial. And we're going to talk about that, where they got their witnesses and the testimony they gave, which was either most of all the sorry, I'm trying to take my house shoes off. Most of that testimony has either been recanted or proven to be false. So, like I said last night, it's slowly falling apart and unraveling. Yep. Miss Kimber says, unfortunately, this time around, they have more people behind them than against them and no tunnel vision. Yeah. See, and that's all I want is just, like I said, if guilty or not guilty, I just want a fair, somebody with impartial, no tunnel vision to come in, test the evidence, look at evidence, any other evidence, and just the fair all the way around to the three, to the boys, to Michael, Stevie, and Christopher. Just take a stand back, unbiased look at it, test the evidence. Yeah, that's all I want is just a fair shake, a fair look at it. And if it comes back at evidence, if they test it and it does happen to come back to match one of the three, okay, I'll accept that. And then if it doesn't come back and it matches somebody else or an unknown somebody, I'm good with that too. But I just want something fair and unbiased. So I agree with you there. I get caught up in comments and we'll move on. Yeah, Serena says if there is viable evidence that can be tested and they have enough to charge and convict Hobbs, I would love to see the smug look on his face turn to shock. Yeah. See, and we'll get into it in the petition I'm going to read. I'm not going to read the whole petition because it's like 18 pages long. But if you do want to read the whole petition that was submitted to the Supreme, or the response to the petition, from the Supreme Court, I have, if you're not on, I've downloaded the PDF from the website and put it in my Discord. If you're not on Discord, I have put a link in the description box to the website where I got downloaded the PDF from. You can read it off the website. You can read the whole thing if you want to. Like I said, I think it's about 18 pages long. I'm just going to read maybe the first 2 or 3 pages. It has to do with why they said the circuit courts kept shooting it down. Their explanation of why they didn't want it to, or they couldn't use this act 1780 or 1740, whatever it is. And they basically, the district courts interpreted it as Damien, or they couldn't use it because they weren't imprisoned anymore. They took the Alfred plea, and one other thing is it all comes down to interpretation of this act. And then the Arkansas Supreme Court came in and said, interpreted the act a different way and said, yes, you can file a petition to have the DNA tested under the laws of this act. So it's all interpretation. But I agree with the Supreme Court just from the little bit that I've read and tried to understand about what this act says. Yep, that is sad. As Serena said, one of the sad things in these three guys believed in the justice system. They truly believed that since they were innocent, they couldn't get convicted. Yeah. Yep, that's true too. Serena says Jason Baldwin was actually a devoted Christian. He didn't believe his God will let him get convicted. Serena says no lawsuits because they still pled guilty. Oh, Arctic is talking about our fine governor here in Arkansas. Oh, Lordy, don't get me started, Arctic. Yes, Serena says pretty sure they even have the bikes and evidence. I'm pretty sure they have. They should still have both of them because they found 2, I believe. And I think a picture it showed in one of the videos that showed the box of evidence in the background. You could see a bicycle standing up against one of the tables in the background. So they at least whenever that picture was taken, they had the bicycles. Now, once again, going back to how evidence mysteriously gets lost or destroyed in a fire. Who knows if the bicycles are still around, but we can only hope. Now, I don't know what evidence, if any, they could get off of the bicycles. Because I believe the 2 bicycles were found right by the pipe bridge that we looked at the slides. I had the aerial view that we looked at last night when we were going over the crime. The pipe bridge, that's where the bicycles are found in the water there, if I remember correctly. No, I don't think so either, Marina says. I don't believe they were transported in a vehicle to where they were found. No, from what I've seen, just looking at the pictures, there is no way. Those woods are too thick. And I think the woods are gone now. Those woods were too dense. You would not be able to get a vehicle down there. You might have been able to get bicycles in there, but wouldn't have been able to get a vehicle in there. Yeah, Kimber says I have no doubt that these 3 didn't do it, or they would have taken the Alfred pleas and just let it be done, or let it alone, and they would be trying to get the evidence looked at to get them exonerated. See, that's what because like I said, I'm on the fence. I lean more one way than the other, obviously, like I said, but I can only think of, and please, somebody, I'm sure will put it in comments if you can think of any other reasons. The only two reasons I could think of that Damien in the public, and we don't know if Jason and Jesse in the background have been, why would Damien be pushing to have this evidence tested if they were, if they did it? Like I said, I don't know for sure one way or another. I wasn't there. Now, the reason I can think of is why he would keep pushing is number one, he knows he didn't do it. They didn't do it. There's no evidence there to prove that they did it. They didn't do it. Or two, he knows or thinks that he knows if they did it, that he thinks maybe they didn't leave any evidence, although we know there is no perfect crime. He thinks, one of those offenders that the smartest guy in the room, he knows more than everybody else, and we didn't leave any evidence behind, so yeah, let's go ahead and push for it. That's the only two reasons I can think of why he would be pushing to have it done. So, depending on what side you're on, what you think, or if you have any other different ideas, which I'm sure you guys do, that's the only two reasons I can think of why he would be pushing to have it, the evidence tested. Chris says, I'm wondering if there were other suspects besides the three or Hobbs. When we get, because in my series of videos, that's one of the videos I'm going to do, or live streams, is other possible suspects. We had, of course, we have Hobbs and possibly, hey dude, my cat just walked in. Anyway, so other than the three, the West Memphis three, possibly we have persons of interest or possible suspects, Hobbs and Jacoby, which is Hobbs's friend. There was the what they called Mr. Bojangles. Apparently, male, I believe it was a black male, had walked into on the night that this happened. Sorry, dude, don't knock my camera off. He's playing with his toy and he's running amok. So if you hear strange noises, just ignore it. Anyway, you had Mr. Bojangle, who they call Mr. Bojangles. It was, I believe, a black male that supposedly come into the local Bojangles restaurant covered in blood. He supposedly went to the bathroom and left blood smeared everywhere. One of the owners or whoever was somebody that was working at the restaurant that night, of course, called the police. They sent one police officer out there. Didn't even take any pictures. By the time they got there, the gentleman or the man was gone. If this was a credible report, now who knows? It's just something that's been reported in everything that I've read. But if it was, credible, the one police officer out there didn't take pictures, didn't take sample of the swabs of the blood that was supposedly smeared on the walls. They just basically come in and maybe made a note or two and said, okay, and just, that was it. Another factor in tunnel vision, even at that early time, because that was the night that it happened. But you would think, regardless, if you have a restaurant or a business that it calls you and said, hey, this guy just came in here covered with blood, smeared it on the wall, come check it out, they would have at the very least, no matter what, taken pictures and taken swabs just for future reference. But it is the West Memphis PD we're talking about, so. But yeah, and Chris, it could be somebody totally different than nobody knows about or has thought of or is, has come up. And there was two, and I can never remember their names. Two other teenagers or young men that, or one other guy that they ended up in California, and something about some statements they made them think they might have, they talked to them or looked at them. not too seriously, I don't think. But I can't remember their names. They don't get mentioned a whole lot. But that was another. Aside from that, that's it. That's been released publicly. Yeah, Serena said there were 2 bikes. Yes. Yeah, Serena said John Mark Byers was a suspect for a while, but he was cleared. Yeah, John Mark Byers is Christopher's stepfather. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially when the Paradise Lost documentaries came out, because John Mark Myers was a character. I believe he is deceased now. I believe he got killed in a car accident a few years ago. John Mark Myers was the character. I think he put on a lot, in my opinion, for the video, for the Paradise Lost videos. But yeah, I don't think he, in my opinion, if it's any of the parents or step parents, it's, ones that we've been talking about and possibly linked, possibly by DNA. But Serena said there was another guy that I think even confessed but recanted. There could be, like I said, with this case, it's so convoluted and but yeah, they yes, that's true. I'm going to do a video too at some point, or maybe just a supplemental video about the family and what's happened to the family members. But Serena said Mark Byers was strange indeed. Yes, doesn't mean that he did it, but he did have substance anger and alcohol problems. So did Chris's mom, Melissa. Yeah, she actually passed away from OD. Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Serena knows a lot about this case. I think she was it you, Serena, or somebody else on my Discord when I did, if anybody wants to go to my Discord, I did create a channel just for the West Memphis 3, and I put some links to some videos and stuff in there, and to the videos I've done, live streams I've done, so go check it out. But I think Serena was in there. She was excited that we had a West Memphis 3 channel on the Discord now. Yeah, that was my thought too. Serena says Mark Byers was also portrayed as a nut job on Paradise Lost because the crew, yeah. Yeah, like I said, the crew of Joe Berlinger and Bruce Sinofsky was the ones that produced that, did that. Heavily, yeah, done for heavily slanted towards, I don't think it might not have started that way, that they were going to slant it towards the innocents and making it they might have though, making it a freak show. But that's what it ended up. The only good, really, and I've watched all 3 of the Paradise Lost numerous times, but you can get, there is a lot of good TV footage in the Paradise Lost videos and information, but like I said, heavily slanted toward innocence, that's fine. I have no problem with that. However direction they want to go. But really heavy on the freak show factor too, and the dramatization, sensationalism. That's just my opinion, though. All right. Sunshine says she needs to do a full refresh on this case because she was a teen when this happened. Yeah, I was a young adult. I was in my early 20s in 93. So, all right. So I think I'm caught up in comments. So we'll see what we're gonna do next. Do this. Get a drink right quick, so I won't lose my voice. We're going to sorry. I think I'll run through quickly the evidence that they investigation and evidence that they did in the original trial. And this, I just took screenshots, I think, from Wikipedia because I had all the information in one place. I know Wikipedia is not the most reliable, but all this information I have read from established, credible news sources. So I just used everything, or not everything, but excerpts from Wikipedia of the evidence they had. Police officers James Sudbury and Steve Jones. If you remember from last night, Steve Jones is actually, they call him a police officer, and I guess maybe he is, I don't know, but Steve Jones is a juvenile parole officer. Steve Jones was actually the one that found the shoe, the black shoe that we talked about last night in the when we did the crime part of it. Same Steve Jones, the one that found the shoe that eventually led to finding the boys' bodies. But James Sudbury and Steve Jones felt that the crime had occult overtones and that Damien Echols might be a suspect because he had an interest in occultism. And Jones felt that Echols was capable of taking the life of children. The police interviewed Echols on May 7th, 2 days after the bodies were discovered. During a polygraph examination, he denied any involvement. The polygraph examiner claimed that Echols' chart indicated deception. On May 9th, during a formal interview by Detective Bryn Ridge, Echols mentioned that one of the victims had wounds to the private area. Law enforcement viewed this knowledge as incriminating because we do know that one of the boys was either, depending on what side you're on, once again, what side you're looking at, and I believe it was, I can't remember if it was Michael or Stevie. One of the boys did either have intentional, what they call mutilation of the private area, or animal predation. So now it could have been something that either Damien had knowledge of it prior, because he was there, or as I think in one of these slides it talks about, there was information that was leaked to the press before the trial started and before they started doing interviews. So he could have also got the information from the radio or newspaper or whatever. So, but after a month had passed with little progress in the case, police continued to focus their investigation upon Echols, interrogating him more frequently than any other person. Nonetheless, they claimed that he was not regarded as a direct suspect, but a source of information. So we have that. On June 3rd, the police interrogated Jesse Miskelly Jr. despite his reported IQ of 72, categorizing him as borderline mentally handicapped. And his status as a minor, Miskelly was questioned alone. His parents were not present during the interrogation. Miskelly's father gave permission for Miskelly to go with police, but did not explicitly give permission for his son to be questioned or interrogated. Now, I have read differing accounts of this, so I'm going to give you what I've heard on both sides regarding this, and to be open, honest, and transparent like I always am, and to look at all sides. I have read this information that Jesse's father, neither one of his parents were there when he was interrogated, but I've also read and heard in other articles and videos and such that his father was there, but he was not in the room. He was like outside the room, maybe looking in through they have the mirror, two-way mirror. So I don't know for sure whether if his dad was there or wasn't there, wasn't in the room. So, but I just want to give you both sides, as always. Miskelly was questioned for roughly 12 hours, like we talked about last night, but only 2 segments totaling 45 minutes were recorded. We talked about that last night too. And I think I said an hour and a half, but they said it's only 46 minutes were recorded. Miskelly quickly recanted his confession, citing intimidation, coercion, fatigue, and veiled threats from the police. Miskelly specifically said he was, quote, scared of the police during the confession, allegedly. I have to say allegedly because we weren't there. Though he was informed of his Miranda rights, Miss Kelly later claimed that he did not fully understand them. In 1996, the Arkansas Supreme Court ruled that Miss Kelly's confession was voluntary and that he did, in fact, understand the Miranda warning and its consequences. Portions of Miss Kelly's statements to the police were leaked to the press and reported on the front page of the Memphis Commercial Appeal before any of the trial proceedings began. In my opinion, tainting the jury pool, but it was taken out of the county. But in any event, shortly after Miss Kelly's first confession, police arrested Damien Eccles and his friend Jason Baldwin. 8 months after his original confession, on February 17th, 94, Miss Kelly made another statement to police. His lawyer, Dan Stidham, remained in the room and continually advised Miss Kelly not to say anything. But Miss Kelly ignored this advice and went on to detail how the boys were assaulted and killed. Now we come to Vicki Hutchinson and her son. So this is another one or two alleged supposed eyewitnesses. So Vicki Hutchinson, at the time, she was a new resident of West Memphis. She would play an important role in the investigation, though she would later recant her testimony. We talked about that last night, how she recanted, claiming her statements were fabricated due in part to coercion from the police. Now, this is what she said, but she did recant. So according to her testimony and the testimony of her young son, on May 6, 1993, and this was before the boys had been found, Vicki Hutchinson took a polygraph exam by Detective Don Bray at the Marion Police Department to determine whether or not she had stolen money from her West Memphis employer. Hutchinson's young son, Aaron, was also present. Now, I don't remember how old he was, but I think he was maybe about the same age as the boys, as Stevie, Michael, and Christopher. But Aaron was also present, and he apparently was a distraction to the detective. The detective was unable to administer the polygraph. Aaron, who it says was a playmate of the boys, mentioned to Bray that the boys had been killed or their life had been taken at, quote, the playhouse. When the bodies proved to have been discovered near where Aaron indicated, Bray asked Aaron for further details, and Aaron claimed that he had witnessed the crimes committed by, he said, Satanists who spoke Spanish. Now, once again, an 8-year-old, I try to give credit for kids being smart, but what 8-year-old is going to come up with this, in my opinion, come up with a story about being out in the woods and saw a Satanist who spoke Spanish do this? I mean, anyway, that's my opinion. Aaron's further statements were widely inconsistent, and he was unable to identify Baldwin, Eccles, or Miss Kelly from a photo lineup. And there was no playhouse at the location that Aaron indicated. A police officer leaked portions of Aaron's statement. Once again, when the allegation had happened. Once again, a police officer leaked portions of Aaron's statements to the press, contributing to the growing belief that the crimes were part of a satanic ritual rite. On or about June 1st, 1993, Vicki Hutchinson agreed to police suggestions to place hidden microphones in her room during an encounter with Eccles. Miss Kelly agreed to introduce Vicki Hutchinson to Damien Eccles. During their conversation, Hutchinson reported that Eccles made no incriminating statements. Police said that the recording was inaudible, but Vicki Hutchinson claimed that the recording was audible. On June 2nd, Hutchinson told police that about 2 weeks after the crimes were committed, she, Eccles, and Miss Kelly attended a Wiccan meeting in Terrell, Arkansas. I don't know where Terrell is. I'm assuming it's in that area, same area, close. Hutchinson claimed that at this meeting, a drunken Eccles openly bragged about the crimes, about killing the boys. Miss Kelly was first questioned on June 3rd, a day after Hutchinson's purported confession about this going out the woods and the drunken orgy. Hutchinson was unable to recall the weekend meeting location. She did not name any other participants in the purported meeting. She was never charged with theft, and she claimed that she had implicated Eccles and Miss Kelly to avoid facing criminal charges and to obtain a reward for the discovery of who committed the crimes. All right, so that is basically and I think they did leave out that they were told, but I don't know if it was by Jesse or Jesse's father or by friends, that Jesse, the night of when this occurred, had been somewhere else at a wrestling match or doing something out of town. I don't think they ever really at that time looked into that alibi. And they also did mention the little teenage girls that they talked to, or supposedly some teenage girls at a Little League baseball game they were hanging out at, allegedly said that they heard Damien, once again, bragging, like they said, Vicky Hutchinson said that he did it. I said, who knows? But they did testify, or one of them did, testified at the trial. But as far as any other, they had no physical DNA evidence that linked the three, to the crime, just Jesse's confessions, or multiple confessions, which may or may not have been coerced, or at the very least, the leading questions. And then they had Vicky Hutchinson's story, which she later recanted. They had her son Aaron's story, which, in my opinion, I'm not buying that for a second. I mean, like I said, I try to give credit to younger kids that we, don't give them credit for being this smart, but what 8-year-old, if you have an 8-year-old that's going to come up with that kind, in my opinion, come up with that kind of story about being out in the woods and seeing nefarious things with some strange stuff and people speaking in tongues, I think I would have my child at a psychiatrist, or I can't go with it. But once again, I don't know for sure. That's just my opinion, because I wasn't there. Let me get caught up in comments for a minute, and then the last thing I'm going to read quickly is a little bit of the once again, if I can get it to a screen share here in a minute, a little bit of the petition. And actually, I'll do that first, and then I'll that way, if anybody who's watching or watching on replay doesn't want to go through all the question and answer section, they can scoot on out after I read this if they want to hear it, and then we'll finish up and I'll get to everybody's comments. Like I said, hopefully it will let me I've got to hold on. I'm gonna have to bring it up on my 1 minute. I'll try not to put this in a wrong way dumpster fire by smashing the wrong buttons. Let me see if I can get the PDF up. There it is. Hopefully it will let me screen share it. Make sure I didn't totally close it out. Nope, there it is. Okay. Now, bring that back up. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. 1 minute. Oh, shoot. Oh, there it is. No, was that it? Oh, that's not it. Um, don't. Dadgummit, I might have to read it off the website because I thought I could share my. Oh, there. Wait. Where'd it go? I saw it. There it is. Okay. Let me try. I think I got it. Maybe. It'll come up. There it is. Okay, so let me oh, what am I doing? I'm gonna go into the dumpster. Let me change. Oh goodness. There we go. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see it. It should be big enough. Let me go back over. So it says Supreme Court of Arkansas, Damon Echols versus State of Arkansas, blah blah blah. Karen R. Baker was the Associate Justice. Appellant Damien Echols appeals from an order entered by the Crittenden County Circuit Court denying his Act 1780 petition for a lack of jurisdiction on the basis that Echols was not in state custody. That's one of the reasons, like I said earlier, boils down to they said they couldn't use this Act 1780 because it did not include somebody. He had already been released. They had already been released from prison, so they couldn't make this request for the DNA test to be done because they weren't in prison anymore. That's what it boils down to. It says the circuit, each Echols presents 2 points on appeal. One, the circuit court erred by misinterpreting the plain and unambiguous language of Act 1780, which identifies who is jurisdictionally entitled to make a motion for relief under that act, or two, alternatively assuming arguendo that the operative language of the act is ambiguous. That's basically boiling down to how they interpreted it, like I was talking about earlier, how the circuit court interpreted it, that it didn't fall under, since they weren't in prison, since they had taken the Alford plea and blah, 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 that they weren't qualified to, made them unqualified or not be able to request the DNA test. The appeal before us stems from Echols' pursuit of exoneration. Echols has been before this court in connection with the West Memphis 3 case on numerous occasions. In 1993, 3 8-year-old boys were found deceased in West Memphis. We know Echols, Jason Baldwin, Miss Kelly were ultimately convicted, and Echols was sentenced to the DP. In Echols' preceding appeal, we explained that in 2002, while his other petitions for post-conviction relief were pending, Echols filed a motion in the circuit court for DNA testing under Arkansas Code, bunch of numbers I'm not going to read out. The circuit court entered a testing order on June 2nd, 2004, after the parties agreed to the terms of the order. On February 23rd, 2005, an amended order for DNA testing was entered. The DNA testing was conducted between December 2005 and September 2007. So that's when they did do some testing that they could do in 2007. That's when we get into the most interesting part of this, in my opinion. The results of the testing established that neither Echols Baldwin nor Miss Kelly was the source of any of the biological material that was tested, which included, which all I had ever heard was the hairs. But apparently they had a foreign allele from a penile swab of Stevie Branch. So that was the swab that had been referred to. Obviously, it goes into more detail, but I probably should have put up the trigger warning banner, but anybody knows when we're dealing with cases like this, it's going to be disturbing. So they had the swab from Stevie. They had a hair from the ligature used to bind Michael Moore, and a hair. So they had the hair from the ligature used to bind Michael, and then the other hair was recovered from a tree stump. near where the bodies were recovered. In addition, the DNA material found that the hair in the ligature, which was on Michael, sorry, I lost my place. The hair found in the ligature used to bind Moore was found to be consistent. Now, it didn't say it matched, but this was in 2007. That's why they want the DNA retested now, because technology has come further since 2007. But in 2007, they did say that the hair in the ligature was consistent with Terry Hobbs, who is Stevie's stepfather, and that the hair found on the tree stump was consistent, not for certain, but just consistent with the DNA of David Jacoby, who is a friend of Terry Hobbs. It is also worth mentioning from court documents and things I've read and heard from podcasts, Terry Hobbs and Jacoby both had differing stories about where they were, their alibis for that night. First, one of them said that they were together the whole night. One of them said they were together some of the night, and then Jacoby left and came back. And so we have differing stories. Just giving you all the information. I'm not trying to persuade your mind in any way, but that has been mentioned in legal documents. So on April 14th, 2008, Eccles filed a motion for a new trial pursuant to the section, more numbers. On September 10th of 2008, without holding an evidentiary hearing, the circuit court entered an order denying the motion for a new trial. Eccles then filed a timely notice of appeal. Says we reversed and remanded, this is the Supreme Court, Arkansas Supreme Court, for an evidentiary hearing holding that the circuit court had erroneously interpreted. So this is where we come into the differing interpretations of how they interpreted this 1780 Act. So the Arkansas Supreme Court said we reversed it, holding that the circuit court had erroneously interpreted Arkansas Code, all the numbers, and ordered the circuit court to reconsider Eccles' motion for a new trial in light of the proper interpretation of the statutes. After the case was remanded, a resolution was negotiated between the state, Eccles, Baldwin, and Miss Kelly, pursuant to which Eccles and the other defendants would enter a plea. I know this was for when they did the Alford plea. So after they got the results back from the test, or DNA, that did not match any of the boys, that's apparently when they offered them the Alford plea. So they took the Alford plea on August 19, 2011. They entered the plea and they were released from prison, receiving a time served sentence, plus an additional 10 years suspended, basically, I think, probation for 10 years. They told them if they got into any trouble in the next 10 years after they were released, that they would go back to prison. So they were released, and then in 2020, Eccles engaged in communications with then prosecutor Scott Ellington regarding the prospect of performing additional DNA testing of certain evidence using the MVAC, a wet vacuum-based collection method to collect DNA. A method that was not available when DNA testing had previously been conducted in 2007. By 2021, no additional DNA testing had been conducted, and Keith Cressman was appointed to replace Ellington, the prosecutor, for the second judicial district. Cressman informed Eccles that Eccles would have to petition the court for permission in order to move forward with testing. So once again, they're shooting it down again still. But he assured Eccles that he had asked the West Memphis Police Department to catalog the remaining evidence in the case if they can not lose it or set it on fire. In 2021, Eccles filed a lawsuit against the West Memphis PD under the Arkansas FOIA Act after he had learned that certain key evidence in the case might have been lost or destroyed. We now know that it wasn't. The ligatures used to bind the victims were ultimately located at the West Memphis PD. So that just goes through what the impact system is. Like I said, if you guys want to read the whole thing, it's I have a link to the website, and I have the PDF in the Doc Drop channel on my Discord. I just wanted to get in the evidence that they had and how they were kept shooting them down whenever they tried to get it tested. So in January 2022, Eccles filed a petition to conduct additional DNA testing under the 1780 Act. Blah, blah, blah. Specifically, Eccles sought further forensic DNA testing of the ligatures using the new MVAC collection technology. Eccles stated that the ligatures had yielded important biological material, the hair, in prior rounds of DNA testing, and that this new technology could collect a subsurface DNA which would not belong to Eccles that might serve to identify the true perpetrators in the case. The state responded in pertinent part that Eccles was not entitled to relief under Act 1780 because his petition was a writ of habeas corpus. So that's just explaining how they weren't he couldn't do it the way they interpreted this act. He couldn't request that the DNA be tested again because he wasn't still in prison. In other words, I said, if they had still been in prison, they would have maybe at least considered retesting the evidence. But since they were out, had taken out for plea, it was said and done, they weren't going to test anything. Basically, that's what it says. So I'll have to read the whole thing there. So it's just going over the interpretation. So I think that was basically the gist of it. Like I said, if you want to read, just going through what the habeas corpus was, which is writ of habeas corpus basically means that you're a prisoner. It has basically that you're still in prison or incarcerated somewhere. That's what the writ of habeas corpus is, from what I understand. My uneducated, not uneducated, but non-professional. I'm not a professional, but just from what I've read about the habeas corpus. Anyway, like I said, you guys can read the whole thing if you want to, either through the website or on my Discord, the PDF. You can download it from my Discord, whatever you want to do. So I just wanted you to get the gist of why. Hold on. Oh, let me stop sharing. There we go. Just get the gist on, because people that don't know a whole lot about this case, and I'm going to go back through all the comments and questions and get caught up probably for the next hour, or at least 40 minutes. But I just wanted to get that information read for anybody that was either watching now or watching replay that didn't want to stick around for the whole question and comment part at the end. At least they would get this information if they were curious about the petition and the Arkansas Supreme Court's ruling. So anyway, let me get a drink. All right, I will get to, but before I get to comments, for anybody in chat here that doesn't want to stick around for the to go through the questions and comments, thank you so much for watching. Please give it a like before you leave. Anybody watching on replay, thank you for watching replay. Please give it a like. Shares, comments, all those things help this information get out to as many people as possible. If you're new here, if you're watching on replay, you're going to leave, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. All right. I think that was it. So I'm going to turn off my cam for a minute, but I am going to, you guys can still hear me. I'm going to start going through your comments. Get back up to where I left off at. I'm not too far behind. Let's see how far. Oh, I've already read that one. All right, I'm getting there, guys. Yeah, talking about John Mark Byers. Kimber says he scared me through the TV screen. Yeah, when I first watched the Paradise Lost videos, until I watched them a few times and got the gist of what they were trying to portray. Yeah, John Mark was a little bit scary, but like I said, I think a lot of it was for show, and the producers who they were doing the film, or like somebody else said earlier, I think they were kind of egging him on for dramatic purposes, but that's just my opinion. Everybody's talking about how old they are and when they were born. Y'all are making me feel old. Oh, Kimber says I'm old. I'm there with you, Kimber. I'm fixing to be 53 in let's see, what's today, the 20th? Oh yeah, it's 420 today. Happy 420 to anybody who observes. But I'll be 53 in less than a month. So yes. Just as an aside, give me my hover round. Yeah, I think I'm getting to that point too, Kimber. Oh goodness. Oh God. I love art. T says I'm so old. My first tablet was an Etch-a-Sketch. I never could figure out that freaking Etch-a-Sketch. I couldn't draw anything but squares on an Etch-a-Sketch. I swear. I just don't understand. Me and Etch-a-Sketch did not get along. Oh goodness. Kimber's older than me. You don't look it, sweetie. You look good for your age. uh Oh, Arctic Fox, you're killing me. Reading your comment about Free Willy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're gonna have to at some point go over to my second channel, my Southern Gal Ramblings channel, which by the way, little shameless plugging for a second. That's my second channel. There's not a lot of content over there. It's basically anything non-true crime that I also love, which would be music, movies, paranormal, anything weird. I would love to have a live and a panel of some of you guys, Arctic, Sunshine, anybody else who wanted to join in and just have a BS session over on my other channel. That way, if we say anything that YouTube would strike, that way it's not my main channel, this channel, my important channel. Oh goodness, the things that we could talk about and get into. It would be fun, and I think it would be fun for people listening and watching too. Oh goodness. Oh, I almost went into the, guess what? The dumpster fire. I almost pushed the wrong button. Now I lost my comments again. Oh goodness. Okay, now I'm back to Arctic's Free Willy comment. That's where I left off. Going through comments. Welcome, GMA. Good to have you here. It's a new name I haven't seen before. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Oh goodness, now I'm 30 minutes behind in comments. You can tell us how you found this, GMA, if you don't mind. Yes, exactly. Serena says Vicky Hutchison was facing check fraud charges. They basically told her she was any help, they'd give her a break on her charges. Yeah, that was my thought too. We're thinking on the same wavelength. Serena. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah, Kimber, I agree with that too. Kimber says so. Hutchinson made a false statement about Eccles, in my opinion. Now, that is also, I lean towards that too. Yep, Serena said in her own words she was playing detective. Yeah, because she said when she recanted that it was all the law enforcement's idea. They made her do it or encouraged her to do it. But I've also read other articles that said she didn't have any objections. She wanted to play detective and get something out of the deal. So I agree with you, Serena. Yeah, that's true. She didn't get anything, but maybe I think they did drop her charges, maybe, if I remember correctly, but she didn't that's all she got. Absolutely. Miss Barbara says sick monsters out there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Serena said, I hope Aaron, who is Vicky Hutchinson's son, who either came up with, which I don't think he did, in my opinion, or was fed this story to give to the police about what he allegedly saw, that he was there in the woods the night it happened, and we went over all that. Yeah. Another, in my opinion, little Aaron is another victim in this whole thing. Arctic says it's always a Hutchison fault. Oh, are you making reference to good old Asa? Good old Asa. I wonder what he's doing nowadays. Was he going to run for president this next term? I think he dropped out, if I'm thinking about the right former governor of Arkansas. Yep, that's a good point. Serena says law enforcement took advantage, in her opinion, took advantage with a lot of financially unfortunate people with addiction and crime issues to get their fabricated hearsay evidence. Yeah. Serena says, like that boy that was the jail informant, he admitted he lied and feels awful to this day. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, most Vicky Hutchinson definitely has recanted. Yeah, poor little Aaron, and then I don't know about the little teeny bopper teenage girls that one of them at least testified. I don't know if they've ever recanted, or I'm thinking that maybe because I keep seeing a redheaded girl on the stand, maybe with those one of the little teenage girls. I want to say I did read somewhere that she did change her story. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think it's just everything's slowly unraveling, and the new evidence, they get it tested, could possibly, hopefully, lead to something one way or the other, and then everybody's recanting their stories, so everything is falling apart. Thank you, Jocelyn. She may already be gone, but she said, great show. I'm headed to bed. Have a great night. Thank you, Jocelyn. Jocelyn. She may be going, well, not too bad. I'm less than 10 minutes behind in comments now. I'm doing good. Serena sounds like me. I used to do, she said, you guys are young. My day job is pharmacy tech for a nursing home. My mom actually works in a nursing home in dietary. She cooks. So I don't consider anyone old until at least 80s. Yeah, I did home health, caregiving, PCA, personal care assistant for 10 years. So I know what you're saying, Serena. I understand completely. I just finally had to. I could mentally and emotionally, I couldn't handle the caregiving. I loved it when I was doing it, but after a certain amount of time, if you work in a nursing home, you know what I'm talking about. It wears on you mentally and emotionally. Oh, thank you, Serena. Serena says that she totally subbed to my second channel. Yeah, I encourage anybody who wants to. Like I said, there's not a lot of content on it right now because I'm concentrating on getting this channel to where I want it to be, to get this information out to as many people as possible and all you wonderful people. But yeah, hopefully, I keep saying it. Another thing that I've been saying forever too, just like this series of videos that I keep saying I'm going to do about this case, but I keep saying I'm going to some Friday or Saturday night schedule a live on Southern Gal Ramblings. We can, whoever wants to go over there and join us and just talk about anything but true crime, open chat, anything, everything. Well, to an extent, nothing that will get us kicked off of YouTube. But yeah, like I said, music, movies, paranormal, whatever, anything goes basically. No D pics though. Going back to Miss Charlotte and Dave. Dave may not be here. He may, I don't know if he's working tonight or not. But yeah, some point I'm gonna get over and schedule a live on ramblings on. We can talk about anything, whatever we want to. Trina says that would be so fun. Yep. Oh, excellent. Argus said GMA is one of his peeps. Excellent. Thank you, T. Thank you to everybody who shares out my channel, shares my videos and lives. I know Miss Marion, of course, does. Miss Barbara. Arctic Fox is always sharing me in the Facebook groups and on his channel, and I try to do likewise to him and share his stuff on my Facebook page and group and on my community page. So thank you to everybody who shares all of our creators, me, Arctic, Sunshine, True Crime Web, all the good ones out there, all the good ones. It's very much appreciated. It helps get, like I'm always saying, like a broken record. I know I sound like, but the more you share, the more that this information gets out to as many people as possible. Sunshine told me check Discord when you can. Okay, I will. I will, ma'am. Thank you. I'll do it as soon as we get done here. Oh goodness, what did I do? Almost went to it. What is it? Hold on. Say it all together now. What did I almost do? As Arctic would say it loud for the people in the back can hear. Yeah, I almost did a dumpster. Almost put us in a dumpster fire. Pushing buttons. Serena says that she will totally, we'll totally get some fun content going with you. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, we can be a little freer. Oh, Dave is still here. Hey, Dave. Yeah, we can be a little bit freer on my second channel. Like I said, as long as it doesn't get too out of control to completely get me shut down. I do have my second channel. It's under a different email, so maybe if it gets shut down, it won't shut down this channel. But yeah, we can maybe, be a little bit freer in what we say and have a little bit of fun and not have to worry about. I definitely don't want to get this channel banned. It's too important. But yeah, we'll get over there next time I get a chance on a Friday, Saturday night. See, I call this True Crime After Dark over here. We could call it Ramblings After Dark, or somebody can come up with a good name for it. No, Dave's still here. I lost this. No. He says he hasn't seen Miss Charlotte in a while either. Yeah, I haven't seen her. Sometimes when I would do either be in your really late, early chat, she would pop in, and then sometimes I haven't done one in a while. I would do a daytime, mid-morning lives, and she would pop in if I did a daytime live. But I haven't seen her in a while. I hope she's doing all right. She's always out on the beach with her puppies. Sounds so good right now to be out on the beach playing with puppies. Well, Dave said he went out and got his coffee, so he is good now. Dave sound like Mr. Steve. Mr. Steve is out on the road. So once again, anybody who didn't hear me earlier, Send thoughts, prayers, and good vibes, and safe travels to Mr. Steve and whoever's out there with him traveling. Yep, there goes Serena's fire, dumpster fire. Yep. Thank you, Miss Kimber. Says she also subbed to my other channel. Thank you. Yeah, I'll get over there and get some more. I think I'm actually caught up in comments. I will get over there and get some more content posted. Alright, so if anybody has any last minute questions, comments, goodbyes, anything you want to get in before we get out of here, I'll do a little bit of a shameless plugging to let you guys the chance to get in. Last questions, comments, goodbyes, whatever, and then we'll get out of here because it's not bad. It's under 3 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I'll do a little bit of shameless plugging on my like I said earlier, if you haven't already, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If this sounds like your cup of tea, normally I share missing persons cold cases, some bigger cases like this every once in a while, just because this one's close to my heart. That's why I cover this one. I've done 2 or 3 videos and lives on this. But I do also mainly share the missing persons and cold cases that don't get the national attention or even local attention that they need. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, please consider subscribing. Even just leaving a like, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, share it, share. That's the most important thing to get this information out. Very much appreciated. If you have any questions, comments, or a case that you would like me to share, maybe you knew the victim as a family member, or it happened in your city or your state, or even a case that you just read about that you don't think has gotten enough attention, email me the name of the victim, state it happened in. I will research it, do my best to share it for you. That is what I'm here to do. Once again, I mentioned earlier, you can find me on Facebook. I have a group and a page. The group, I post more in the group than I do on my page, so it's worth joining the group. If you would like to help support the channel Awareness for the Missing, I think I did put the links are in the description box and also on the About section of my page. Once again, anybody who would like to go sub up to my second channel, Southern Gal Ramblings. I'll try to get some content up there, schedule some live. Get over there and have some fun. Decompress, as Sunshine says, decompress a little bit from the true crime. All right, I think that is all my shameless plugging. See what you guys got to say before we get out of here. Yes, Dave, I did a live last night. Yes, we started the kind of like episode live stream 1 of my proposed series of videos and live streams that I'm going to do regarding West Memphis 3. We went over the just the basic crimes, what happened, and then we talked a little bit about the evidence like we talked about tonight. We went more into the evidence part of it tonight. But yeah, that's what the live was about last night. So if you can catch it on replay, anybody who missed it, I have created a West Memphis 3 playlist. I've added everything that I've done so far to that playlist, and I will add this one. I don't know if I've added this one yet, but I'll add it when it ends. So please do check it out for everything I've done on this case so far. Miss Serena says, heading to bed. Friends, my kiddo will have me up bright and early, ready to party. Thank you for being here, Miss Serena. Thank you. Good to have you here. Let me get everybody in. I don't know if any mods are left, or Dave could do it. I know he won't. Put in Dave's channel. Yeah, go check out Dave, Out on the Prowl. Check out Arctic Fox True Crime. Check out Mind of Monsters, True Crime Web, The Think Tank with Miss Frankie, Carolyn and Her Secrets. All those links, just go to the homepage of my channel, scroll down to visit our friends. All the links are there to all the channels that I trust and feel doing it for the right reasons. They're all there. Please do go check our friends out. Thank you, Sunshine. All the green for Sebastian. So for Sebastian, for Riley, for all the lost, for all the missing, all the ones that they found. Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you, Sunshine. Thank you once again. Sunshine says that yes, decompression is important for mental health. Yes, yes, ma'am. And thank you once again, since I know you're still here, Sunshine. Thank you so much for my my background. I love it so much. I love it. I'm putting the wrong way. There we go. My dumpster fire, and I love the little things you put in. Like I can put it out earlier up there. My Southern Gal True Crime in the circle on air. My crime tape. My dumpster fire is awesome. Thank you, ma'am. You did a wonderful job. It came out of the blue because I had no idea last night because I hadn't obviously looked at my Discord or watched your live from yesterday morning at that point. I watched it after I got off last night from here, and I'd already looked on Discord and found it, and then I watched your replay, and you gave me a shout out and showed it. So thank you so much, ma'am. Awesome. Awesome. Yep. Sunshine says she made me a logo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I owe you so much. Yeah, guys, give anybody who's still here, please give Sunshine Mind a Monster some love in the chat. She is a wonderful lady, does excellent work, is an excellent advocate. She's a machine. She makes great graphics, as you can see there, and I can't wait to go look at my logo. Thank you so much, ma'am. You know I love you, lady. You're one of my favorites. So, all right, that's all you guys have got. I want to leave y'all with this, with the boys, because as always, oh, yes, I didn't mean to put that up, but absolutely, Dave said, Mom is awesome. Yes, she is. She is awesome. Most definitely, Dave. Once again, the most important part of this case is Christopher, Michael, and Stevie. Hopefully, someday soon we can get this evidence tested. See which way it goes. If it's one way or the other or a completely different direction, at least we're getting somewhere, making some progress. Absolutely, Sunshine. Yep. Just keep their faces out there, Christopher, Michael, and Stevie. Keep their remaining family members that they have left in your thoughts and prayers. And today is Saturday. Monday, I should have probably a missing person Monday video, and then depending on what I'm doing for work, I'll let you guys know from there. I'll try to put it on my community page when I can go live again and get some stuff posted. But try to do multitasking. But until then, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you everybody who's watching replay. Find what I need here. Oh, hold on. Almost a dumpster fire at the very end again. Until next time, everybody take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. Take care of your fellow human beings. And I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Once again, I hit the wrong one. Hold on, I'll get it this time.